good evening, dope ass people, and welcome to a new month. Okay, listen, 2 days in, and we got 29 days to go before a whole new year kicks off. But for tonight, we are talking to none other than Derreka Rollins of Capital B Gary. And our topic of discussion tonight is Black media in the Midwest, journalism with a purpose. This topic comes a part of our Unapologetically Amplified series where we've been talking to people in media, podcasting, and all of those things to further have conversations about what that looks like, especially in the current climate that we're in. If y'all don't know, it's me. It's your girl Leo. What up, y'all? What up? And we got a special guest host tonight. What up, boo? You gotta unmute. Let me unmute you.
What
There
up,
we go.
boo?
What up, baby?
It's been a
Hey, D
while.
girl. It has been a while. It has been a while, my love.
Hey y'all,
But thank you for hopping
hey.
on here. Hey, Dewana. Thank you for hopping on here with me tonight. I am so glad and grateful that you was available, and I'm glad to see your face. It's been a minute, like a minute for real, especially in this space. So I'm grateful to you for being here, hopping on here with me tonight. And we have a really dope guest. I've had the pleasure of having a couple of conversations with her about her work and what she does with Capital B Gary. And it is also a super dope honor because um that's my hometown. So it's so great to see people representing Gary in a positive light, because I don't know why people think when they hear Gary, only two things they think about is Michael Jackson and the fact that it used to be the murder capital of the world. And that's all people act like they know about
They
Gary.
need to let it go.
But for real, Gary is so many more things.
I ain't
So
gonna
it
cap.
is
That's all I know. That's
listen,
all I
see?
know.
And Gary is thriving in so many amazing ways. And so I am super excited that I've been able to come across someone doing journalism, actually tapping into Gary and all the other nuances that are taking place inside of the city, and not just Michael Jackson and the murder capital of the world. I'm going to introduce our guest. Again, I said her name is Derreka Rollins. And listen, she is a Gary native herself, okay? But she is an international business liaison, community engagement veteran, and non-traditional journalist whose work spans over 10 years. Come on, Black woman. Over 10 years of global relationship building, local coalition development, and community centered storytelling. She specializes in connecting to resources, developing strategic partnerships, and activating civic participation across diverse communities. Derreka currently serves as the community engagement editor for Capital B Gary, where she guides engagement strategy, collaborates with residents and local partners, and ensures that newsroom coverage reflects the lived experience of the community. Her work challenges traditional journalism by prioritizing trust, cultural understanding, and meaningful collaborations. Because that's what it is about, not just spinning stories to get views and likes and all of those good things.
I know
But she
that's
has
right.
been recognized for her bridge building leadership. She brings a unique blend of international insight, on the ground community experience, and narrative intuition to every space she enters. She is committed to elevating voices, strengthening civic ecosystems, and shaping narratives with clarity, empathy, and purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring to the stage our special guest, none other than Miss Derreka Rollins. I will play the air horn if I had one. Good evening, love. How are you?
Good evening. I am well. Thank you for such a wonderful introduction.
You are welcome.
And
Thank you.
thank you
Thank
for having me.
you. Absolutely. How are you this evening?
I'm great. I'm great. How about you guys?
We're
Great.
Well,
good.
ladies and guy.
Yes.
Right. I am good. I am good. Listen, I read your bio when you sent it. I just read it out loud to the people. And how does it feel when you hear somebody else read your bio about you? How you be feeling?
I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of that girl a little bit.
You is.
I'm not even
She
gonna
is
lie to
her.
you. But no, sometimes you don't really realize all that you do until you have to like write it out. And I was recently told to do that. Um, just write out everything that I've been doing over the last 10 plus years, actually. I've been in community engagement for 10 years, and I've been in international liaison for 15 years. So I have a pretty long career in doing what I do. Um, and I just sometimes I don't realize it until, like I said, I have to write it out.
Accomplishments longer than a CVS receipt. I see
Okay.
you. Her.
Okay.
Her.
Because it's definitely always good to see um not just black people, but black women operating in spaces outside of the status quo or what most people believe or think we should be navigating in. Um, because a lot of times they attach when we say media, they automatically think we're not the ones who are doing the interviews. They think we the people behind the scenes doing the makeup, hair, all of that kind of stuff. They never give us the actual forerunner of things or any of those kind of positions when they think about black women in media. So it's an absolute pleasure to one see what your bio consists of. Cause I'm like, okay, international. How are you doing all stuff across the board? And that makes an amazing difference in your insight and um what you're able to bring to capital B Gary. And I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell us about a little bit about your journey growing up and I'm gonna stop saying Gary. I'm gonna say the G because that's what I call it the G.
Keep
I
it professional. Keep it
call it the G.
professional.
So
I
I've never
mean,
adapted to the term the G. It's always just been Gary to me. But so growing up, born and raised in Gary, 80s baby. Um, I was raised by my grandparents and my dad, and
mhm,
I was introduced to like the world of like international space very early on, and even the political space. My
mhm,
grandmother was the chief of staff for Thomas Barnes, who was the mayor that followed Richard Hatcher. Which is a
okay.
lot of people don't know. They think Richard Hatcher and then Scott King. There's a whole 8 years that people don't talk about.
Now I
Um,
remember Mr. Barnes.
yeah, and so my grandmother was his chief of staff, and she didn't leave me with a babysitter, so I was always at City Hall. And I guess being there and going to like different meetings and different events and things like that, like I just picked up on stuff as a small child. I'm born in
Mhm,
'88, which is the start of his term, and so I'm really small going into these different meetings, going to City Hall, different events and things like that. And so I just learned a lot of things that my little brain just sucked up until, um, and then even after his term, my grandmother was still very connected to the community. And so that's where my love and my passion for Gary came from, because I was in the thick of everything that was, that shaped the city at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so elementary schools, none of them are open. If we really want to go into that, none of the
And
elementary
that makes
schools,
my heart hurt.
yes,
Yeah.
actually, none of the schools that I went to are open. Not including my middle school and high school.
Even the high school. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to Chase when it was originally a elementary school. And then when they closed it to turn it into an alternative school, they shipped us to Brunswick. And then I stayed at Brunswick for like a year. And then my family moved further on the east side, which, Lord, we we lived on the east side for a couple of years. And I went to Franklin until
I did
yes, so 4th and 5th grade. I went to Franklin, and then from 6th to 12th grade, I went to Emerson. And Emerson being the one and only visual performing arts school in the region. And I later found out that my grandmother had something to do with the programming for Emerson. So I was like, wow, okay. But yeah, I went to Emerson. I was a vocal major. I have first place regional and state solo gold medals. I am a professionally trained singer. So that's something that, I like to kind of flex a little bit too. But, and then, I just kind of tried to figure my way. I wasn't necessarily, I thought I was going to be a hairstylist until I realized I didn't like it anymore. And so I went to Ivy Tech, and that's when I realized that business is the direction that I wanted to go in. And so I was at Ivy Tech for a while, and then I moved to Houston, and I got my certification in global business. What introduced me to the global business was, so Mayor Barnes, right? His administration, they established a sister city agreement with Lagos, Nigeria in 91. And the consultant who worked with them was Nigerian. And when I got older, he and my grandmother had, they've kept a relationship throughout the years. And he, wanted to basically like revive that relationship with the city and Lagos. And so he asked me to, be a part of it. And that's what kind of sparked my interest to get into the international space. And so I wanted to educate myself more. And so I got my certification in global business. And that started 2010. So I just kind of just fell into it, right? And I started to just learn and educate myself on, African relationships and how to revive the relationship between Gary and Lagos. Gary is a pretty unique city, and I believe it's like one of the only cities in the country that has all 4 avenues of transportation for trade. So we have the connection to the seaport, we have the railways, we have an international airport, as well as the 8094 that runs throughout the entire country. So that's like our biggest asset, right? So my goal was to reestablish the relationship and to build our economy. As many people know, Gary does not have the best economy right now. However, we have all of the assets for it to be a really booming city. And we're right next to Chicago. Believe it or not, a lot of Chicago's international business, specifically when it comes to Africa, branched from Gary. So a lot of their population, even now, came from that initial relationship with Gary and Lagos. So I've just really been super passionate about just rebuilding Gary. You listen to my grandmother and a lot of the old heads, and I know you've probably heard this too, how Gary used to be like the place to be, right?
Mhm.
And not only did I hear about it, I got to experience Gary before the decline.
Okay.
Um, I was born in '84, and so I still got to see downtown Gary when it was still thriving. We had stores downtown, and it was actually a downtown Gary.
Mhm.
The village and all of the stores in those areas were still around, thriving, growing, building. And to now when I go home, I be, I'm sad sometimes. I'm like, man, I remember what Gary used to be, the transportation, the
Mhm.
opportunities, the all of the events that used to take place in Gary. And so now seeing where it is and the turnaround that's happening, I get excited seeing that. I get excited seeing the turnaround. I get excited seeing that more businesses are coming to Gary, more things are happening in Gary. The bus line is growing. They're reviving the city, setting a standard for the city, because that's what it was at one point in time. Gary was
Mhm.
a thriving city, and so to see the changes, to see the upbuild and all of those kind of things, I get excited and I'm like, maybe I want to go back home. But because of the beauty of that I'm seeing, but also making it a point to connect with more people back home, building out more relationships back home, making it a point to be present in different areas when it comes to what is happening in the city and around the city of Gary. Because it's always going to be home for me. Gary is always going to be home. I live somewhere else, but Gary is always going to be home. That's where my heart is. That's where I was born and raised. And I literally just left Gary 10 years ago. So up until then, that was my everything. Even like you mentioned, the schools. I'm like, dang, you don't see any other schools. I went to Franklin Pulaski and I went to Lew Wallace.
Okay.
All of those are closed. All of the schools are closed. All the schools are gone. They even tore them down. And I'm still trying to gain an understanding of what was the point of tearing them down when it's a whole city. And now they've done all the different shifts and changes to make one big school. But cities thrive where there are sports and recreation and all of those things across the city as well. And so just seeing the shifts and changes within the place that I call home really made a big difference for me. So like I said in the beginning, it's very heartwarming to see so many different things taking place now, but also to see that there's a media outlet specifically for Gary. Um, and we talked about it before. We talked about the other major media outlets in that area who don't necessarily cover what's on the ground in Gary, the grassroots of Gary and things like that. They cover the high level stuff, but Gary is a city that needs to cover or have people in the trenches, on the ground, and connecting with those that are part of the city, not just the high level stuff, because that can easily be done and misconstrued and misunderstood across the board. That's why people only know Gary as the murder capital of the world at one point, because
It's
they
so
promoted that so much. They
it's
promoted it
so
so much
sad.
that became the thing. That became the only thing. And I'm
And
like, hey, no, go ahead.
I was like, no, that's been like a big part of my motivation to like change that narrative. So in 2023, 2022 and 2023, where I was solely working with my business, and again, reviving the sister city relationship with Nigeria. I had a couple of Nigerian delegations that came to Gary, and I gave tours of Gary because they were, interested in that relationship. And I was on the very last tour I did was actually it came up in my Facebook memories today in 2023, December 2nd. And so we were doing the tour, and one of the guys called somebody and said, I've been in Gary for 3 hours and I have not heard one gunshot. And I'm not
Mm.
gonna lie, I was like, what? And he told me that when he told people that he was coming to Gary, everybody was warning him to be safe. And I'm like, I was mind blown. I'm like, that's literally what people think when they think
Yeah,
Gary. And so
absolutely.
I was determined. I'm like, oh, we got to change this narrative because there's so much more about Gary that we don't know. And then I was blessed with this opportunity with Capital B, which I want to, make very clear. So Capital B is a national organization. It started nationally. Our headquarters is in New York. And then the very first newsroom is in Atlanta. And Capital B Gary is the second local newsroom. And so they were looking for places where you would consider a news desert specifically for Black people. And as we just said, Gary, we have our other news outlets, but they didn't cover Gary the way that Gary needed to be covered. And so when this opportunity came about and they were like, looking for a community engagement editor with not necessarily needing journalism experience, I was like, oh, that's me all day. So when I applied, and it was so many different people that applied, and I was just like, no, this is mine. I know that this is for me. And absolutely. And so it'll be 2 years that I've been with Capital B, January 8th, which is my daughter's birthday. So I thought that was pretty cool too.
Hey, congratulations.
And so when I joined Capital B, my mindset was, I really have to change this. I have to be a part of changing the narrative of Gary and, learning journalism. And, I'm still fairly new. Like I said, I've only been 2 years, right? But I've learned so much, and I'm so grateful for our founders, Akoto and Lauren, two best friends who, are journalists, and they just wanted to give Black people a voice. And so they started Capital B, and I just shout them out as often as possible because, one, they've given so many Black people an opportunity, right? But then they've helped so many communities with the journalism that we provide. And so with changing that narrative for Gary, one of the main things that I do as community engagement editor is I host events, but I go to events. I'm listening to people. I'm just having conversations with people and hearing their concerns, hearing their struggles, hearing their stories. And I take them back to the newsroom, to our formal journalists, formally trained journalists. And they write those stories. They bring those people's stories to life. And so I am that connector between the community and the journalists. But something else too that I absolutely love about Capital B is that although I'm the community engagement editor, we as an organization focus on community engagement. So the journalists are also out talking to people, listening to people, and turning what they hear into the stories that people read. And I've been told so many times that we have educated people, that people have learned from the stories that we've written. And I am just like, just 1 second, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
So yeah, got distracted. So
that's okay.
So many people have told us.
Let's take a quick pause, y'all. Make sure that you are liking, subscribing, and sharing the current information that we're talking about. We are in conversation with none other than Derreka Rollins of Capital B Gary. Why you here? I'm gonna give it to y'all straight. We just started a fundraiser today. Double good. And this is your opportunity to support the family. I will post our QR code on the screen, and this will be your opportunity to support. Double Good is really good, and that's why I got the name Double Good. Okay. But we want y'all to tap in, support the family. You can purchase your Double Good by and supporting PGC. We are looking to do more to expand our efforts and do more to reach more people. And by doing this fundraiser, it'll help us to do exactly that, to expand, to reach more people, to connect with more people, and to be able to get on the ground more in other areas outside of the ones that we currently cover. So this is your opportunity to help PGC get out and about into the city, on the ground, talking to the people and all of those kind of things. Here is our QR code if you want to tap in. Actually, let me turn this off so you can get the full QR code. And then you can tap in, order up your good stuff, and guess what? It'll come to you directly. You ain't gotta wait too long. Soon as it ends, it'll be running from now until Saturday. Once it is over at Saturday at noon, then you'll be able to go ahead, and if you didn't get to order this time, you get to order next week, because we running it back next week, Tuesday through Saturday. All right. And while we talking about being on the ground in and around the city and different cities, this Saturday, PGC will be hosting the red carpet at the C Leaders Institute Regal Grand Affair. So make sure you check us out. And then on tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. on Instagram, we are having conversation with the nominees of the C Leaders Institute Awards. We'll have a conversation with them on tomorrow. So make sure you tap in with us and learn something about local businesses. This is an effort that is super amazing, that has been growing over the last 3 years. And I'm super proud of Jenica, the founder and creator of C Leaders Training Institute. So make sure y'all check her out. Check out the conversation on tomorrow. And if you missed the previous 2 conversations, you can go to our Instagram and check it out. Tap in over there. All right. All right. Now back to the conversation. There we go.
Sorry about that. That was so ghetto.
No, all good, all good.
What was I talking about? Oh, so Capital B Gary, right? I've been told by so many different people that the information that we provide, it just really it educates people. People have learned so much from us, and that's what separates us from our other news outlets here in the region. We're the only ones that specifically serve Gary, aside from there's one other that serves Gary, but not in the way that we do, right? So community engagement is extremely important. It's sort of like our model. We're providing a service. And I know when I first started, my sister said, "Oh, so you're getting paid to be nosy." Actually, no.
Yes and no.
Wow.
Because when you think about the news, that's what you think, right? You think that, oh, we're just going to be in people's business, that, we are just, just digging up all of the dirt, and that's what we're putting out. But no, that's not what we're doing. We are searching for information to give people's answers. People are looking for answers, and Capital B Gary has provided a lot of answers for people. We have given so many opportunities for people to be educated, to be informed. Also, what we do specifically, we do spotlights, right? And so we spotlight those people who are doing very good deeds in the community. So whether it's a business owner, just someone who's doing well in the community, one of our spotlights last year actually turned into a partnership at our Cause Youth Basketball League. They are a basketball league that was founded by Wesley Danzy, who was, a former basketball player, and a lot of his coaches were also former basketball players. And we did a spotlight on them last year, and I was responsible for developing some partnerships this year. And I thought about what people have said to us, what the city needs. The youth needs more programs. We need more youth sports again. And so that was like a no-brainer for me, where now we have a partnership that was formed from a spotlight, but also from what people said our city needs. So we heard them and we gave them something. So now we have this media partnership with them. So I'm at the games every week, and we're interviewing players, we're interviewing coaches, and allowing the kids to learn how to speak in public, to speak to the media. A lot of those kids, they're so passionate about basketball, they're going to grow up and, maybe go to the big leagues, right? And with what our partnership is doing is giving them that training, giving them that media training. So they're getting the developmental skills for basketball now, but they're also getting media training now to be able to speak publicly. And so that's something that I'm really proud of, in forming that relationship, that partnership with them. And then there's so many things that we've done already. So many different things that Capital B Gary has done. I'm really proud. And we have a very small team. We have a team of 5. So Javante, who is our lead editor, amazing.
Small team, but powerful.
Javante is super, super, super talented. And people think he's the photographer, that he's just the photographer, because he does our photos as well. If you've ever read our stories and you see the photos, he's the one taking the photos, but he's also the lead editor. So he's taking the photos and then he's editing the stories.
Yes.
So, he's amazing. And then we have 3 amazing journalists, Calvin, who's our political reporter, Calvin Davis, and then Rayana, she is our
Calvin Davis.
Yes.
I know
you may. Y'all think you're about the same age, so you may know him.
Listen, I'm like Calvin Davis. We went to Pulaski together. That's what I'm like. Wait.
You know what? I think he did, but I'm not gonna tell the man.
And his mom used to be a teacher too.
Yep.
Yes, Calvin Davis. That's what I'm like. Wait, pause. Did I hear
you right? He's so amazing. I mean, the way that he pushes out these stories, like sometimes I'm amazed just how well and thorough his reporting is. And it's so frequent. I'm like, I don't know if I could write 3 or 4 stories in a week, and I mean, and they're all like award winning. And
wow.
Like he's amazing. And then I guess Rayana, who's our business and economic reporter, she is also amazing. And Janae, who is our environment and health reporter, amazing. Those 3 reporters, and they're all award-winning. They're all award-winning journalists that represent Gary. And then you have me, who's the community engagement editor. And so it's 5 of us. And the way that our team works, like we all do our own thing, but we work very well together. If they need a resource or anything, I'm there to offer a resource, offer a connection. Like I said, a lot of times the stories have come from things that I've heard from the community. And just over the 2 years that Capital B is 2 years old, actually, we turned 2 on Halloween. And so Capital B Gary turned 2 on Halloween. And just within this amount of time and the relationships that the reporters have built, they, like I said, they report on the things that they've heard from the community, from the relationships that they've built. And so they have their own networks of people that are within their beats. And so it's and that's so funny because I use the term beat now. That's not something that I ever knew before until I entered the world of journalism. So that's I'm considered a non-traditional journalist because that's not my actual background. And so I'm actually still learning this space. I'm not an expert. So I'm still like learning the vocabulary, the jargon. I'm learning all of those things. But it's so fun to just learn something that I never saw myself being in this space. But when I think about what I've done and what I'm passionate about, it kind of aligns. Again, Gary, that's my heart. When I moved back to Gary from Houston in 2015, people were like, why would you move back to Gary from Houston? Listen, don't ask no questions. And it's what I was supposed to do, right?
Listen, Daddy said go, and I went. Okay.
Honestly, and it's so crazy because I immediately, when I came back, my heart was like, I'm supposed to be here. I didn't come back with the intent to stay. I came back to visit, but then my heart was like, no, you're supposed to be here. And that's when community engagement just like took off. I started working for a grassroots organization with Gretchen and Jessica and Miller Spotlight. And we did some really, really amazing things. And that's when everything like started for me with community engagement. And I can honestly say, like, the people that I have worked with in Gary people love Gary. Okay.
I was just gonna say that because if you're from Gary, listen, there is nothing you can say about Gary without somebody knuckling up. What you say about my hometown?
Like, really, you ready to fight?
Hold on now. Because you don't know nothing about Gary. You don't know Gary. You know what the news or what they done said about Gary. You do not know Gary. You know what other people, the narrative that they've pushed about Gary, but you don't know Gary. And I say that all the time, even when it comes to the connections, the familiarity, the feeling of closeness, and the people in Gary are a whole different breed than where I currently live. And so it's different down here, okay? And I don't mean that in the best way. It's different down here. And so that's why I do a lot of reaching back to home, because the people are amazing. I don't care what nobody says. The people from Gary are amazing, i.e. me. But a lot of the people that I've grown up with, Gary has so many diverse talents and avenues, like you said, like you mentioned earlier, the avenues of even just transportation that are in Gary. The people are amazing. The food. Between Gary and Chicago. Okay. Exactly. Between Gary and Chicago, baby, you gonna stay full. And that's why I always be trying to come home, because I miss me a little BBQs, large fry with the sauce.
Many people say that. So many people say that. They like, I gotta come home. But it is a thing. I gotta come home to get some BBQs. I gotta come home to get some sharks, even. And I'm like, what?
Because everybody's sharks ain't the same.
Yeah. Or back in the village, the Polish place, they always go there.
Every now and then I even give me a little taste of the village Polish.
That's got to
right now. You got to, because it's a staple. There are Gary staples.
To the village Polish a few weeks ago,
and the whole village closed, but that's the only thing still in there.
That's like
Ashley Stewart. Okay, right. So exactly. You gonna eat.
There's one other place in the village, and I have to the Gary Shoemaker, we did a story, we did a spotlight story on him.
Yes, right there before you even enter the village. Yes, ma'am.
Over there by when you go in, remember where Tom Aleskers used to be?
Yep, right there.
So it's right there.
Right there. I know exactly where it's at.
We did a spotlight on him, and our business economic report actually won an award for that story. And we presented him with that award. She shared that award with him because she got that award, which is amazing. And he was super grateful. So talking about amazing people, he has like all of like the machinery and things like that. And he actually wants to teach young people how to use that machinery. And I'm like, this is what, when you think about like hometown, right? When you think about like the older people in Gary, the hospitality, and like I love talking to old people, like because I was raised by my grandparents. I just have like this real soft spot for my elders, and I just love to just sit and talk to old people and just listen to them. And they have all of these amazing stories, and they have so much knowledge. And they want to share it. They want to share it with us. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, man, you think you know everything? You don't really know nothing. You need to go sit down and talk to some of our elders for real.
Exactly.
You need to talk to them because they just have a wealth of knowledge and wisdom, and just the love that they have in their hearts for their families. And like you was just, again, another thing about Gary is that the reputation that we have of being the murder capital or whatever, what people don't realize is like Gary is like a big old family. Like everybody is related to somebody in Gary.
Know somebody.
And
sure.
no shape, form, or fashion. Okay, you know somebody that knows somebody.
I just mentioned two people that you know already. Like
exactly.
So, like,
and that's so funny because I get that all the time. You know every damn body. Yeah, because I used to be outside. Okay, I used to be outside.
Exactly.
And I had a good time. I miss being outside in Gary. Okay.
Yes,
because it was all outside. I mean, you know.
Yes.
Not now, but you know.
I outside for work. And
we used to go outside in Gary because it used to be a whole different ball game. And like I said, it's so different from where I'm currently at, because back home we can go to stuff, vibe out, have a good time, go home and everything be good. Ain't no weird energy. It might be weird energy between certain people, but it's not overtaking the whole space.
Exactly.
And that's what I love about being, even when I come back home now, I can stop in somewhere, go to a little spot, might be able to see somebody I know, but it's all love across the board. It's never really a thing where it's like, I mean, I ain't never been a streets girl, so I ain't never got to be wanting to go home and wash my bag. But
you ain't got no ops.
No, I ain't got no ops. No, I'm gonna just say no. I ain't got no known ops. If somebody my op, it's one-sided as hell. Okay, because I don't even partake in them kind of activities. So, but going to Gary, just seeing some of the newer businesses, I'm so in and out that now I'm like, let me go home and actually navigate through the city like it's home again, because there is so much growing and popping up. And every time I come home, I slide to my best friend's house, and then I be like, where we going, best friend? What we doing? And I literally ride through Gary just because that is my connector. That is what makes me feel anchored. That is what makes me feel like, okay. Because again, where I'm at is I be having to go home to feel anchored and grounded, and so.
And I hear that from a lot of people too.
To be connected to real people, to be connected to people who don't have this air about themselves, and to be connected to people who just genuinely love other people. Like you said, the hospitality is top notch. When I first got here, I'm like, is it me or what is happening in this space?
Yeah, I've
Since
heard.
the pandemic, it has gotten weirder. So I really be like, do I need to go back home? Do I need to go to Chicago? Where do I need to be so I can feel grounded and anchored and feel like home, but still have the connections? And so every time I come home, I leave with a whole nother type of spirit, vibe, energy, all of that. And then I come home and do some work and get into my things because I feel grounded. Gary has anchored me. I got some good food. I got hugs for people.
Cakes.
You know, listen. I spent the whole weekend between Chicago and Gary for my birthday. And baby, I don't think I've been in Gary that long and been to so many different restaurants and places in a while. And when I say I came back home with a whole shopping bag full of treats and eats and all of those kind of things, it made me happy because I can't do that here. Like, I literally be here like, people come down here like, what we gonna eat? We finna go to the grocery store.
That is so funny.
That is go to the grocery store and I'm gonna cook because I'm not finna take y'all nowhere and you finna be up here like, what is this? Because I know my people. We particular, we picky. Yeah. When it comes to the food, so I be like, nah, I'ma just cook. I'ma just cook. Not to say it's not places here because there are a few, but you can ride through Gary and stop and throw a dart and it'll hit somewhere that's gonna hit. Chicago, you can ride through any neighborhood in Chicago, and find something. Chinatown, you know, all of those different areas, and you're gonna get something that hits. And so when people say that people who are from Gary love Gary, we absolutely do.
We do.
Because nobody is gonna tell us Gary ain't the shit. Ain't nobody gonna tell us that Gary is not better than a lot of these places that people go to. The only thing about Gary is the economy isn't what it used to be or isn't what we need in order to thrive. And a lot of people don't want to see the fact that a lot of the people in power came into Gary, stole from Gary, tore Gary down, and then chucked up the deuces and was like, I'm out of here. So you cannot grow a city where people are constantly taking from that city. You can't grow schools. You can't have a solid foundation for education. You cannot have a solid economy or a place where people can thrive and grow and have businesses when every time somebody in power comes in, they are flicking the switches on all those different things that really make a city thrive. They coming in filling their pockets for the duration of the time that they can fill those pockets, and I'm out. So,
and you know, and that's something that I also I'm just really proud of Capital B and what we do. Gary is such a political city. Like Gary is really politically driven, and what Calvin does with his reporting, and I'm just like, sometimes like I have to reread some of the stuff because he really digs deep and he's so informative with his reporting. And I think it's helping a lot of people understand how politics work in the city, right? And even nationally, you know, with the elections last year, the way that he covered, and he got an award for how he covered election season last year. And so we have such a negative history politically. Excuse me. We have such a negative history politically to where now we really just want to be able to inform people. We want people to be properly informed. You know, other outlets, they cover the political stuff too, but it's not in a way that is informative. It more so just kind of like continues to shine that negative light on
perpetuate that negativity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so what we do is, you know, we can't hide the negative stuff, right? But the way that Calvin reports, he's providing information, and he's giving people an opportunity to understand what's really happening. He was just downstate, and so we can expect something from him this week about his visit downstate, and how all of that even ties into Gary. And so like I said, historically, politically, Gary has suffered due to the way that, you know, politics have ran. And you know, because we are you know, I cannot support any political person. I do have to acknowledge our current leadership and the efforts to revive Gary. Like it's a revival that's happening, and it's visible. You can actually see it. It's not something that's being talked about. It's like literally in your face. You can ride down the streets and see the difference now. You can see
like Lake Street. You definitely can see a difference.
You can see the cleanups that's happening. They've been doing cleanups almost every weekend since he got in office, you know. So
on Broadway.
You see Gary's being cleaned up. You
see
you can see what's happening. And so I'm like really like hopeful, and not hopeful in just one person, but I also think that as a community, it's giving a lot of people hope and a lot of motivation to want to do it. Like those community cleanups, we're talking about 100-something people outside cleaning up their community, people that you would have never seen out picking up trash. But they got that motivation now to want to do that.
Takes time.
Yeah. And it
will get there.
It takes good leadership. It takes good leadership with a real vision and activating that vision.
People are actually informed now.
Yes.
And not just going off of hearsay. Like even here in Florida, a lot of people don't know how politics work. Everything's so one-sided. You have one person say, oh, well, this person did that. Do your own research, bro.
Yeah.
Because I've learned that a lot of these people in power have a reason behind everything that they did that somebody didn't like. No matter which party it is. No matter which party it is.
And that's
it's always gonna be somebody that don't like what somebody's doing. But when you lead with a certain because I mean it's probably people that don't like the current mayor of Gary, but when you lead and show you can actively see the things that are being done, the shifts that are being made, the changes that are coming about, all of those kind of things where you can see it in your face. Hey, listen, I don't know what else you be out here doing, but I see what you're doing.
Right.
And,
you know, and
say I don't like you as a person, but I see what you're doing. So
people still find negativity in that. I don't know if you noticed, but people tag that man in everything.
Baby, I made a post about it.
That's going wrong. They tag him in something, and I'm like, he don't even have nothing to do with that. What's happening here?
But because his name probably was
his name out there. That's all that is. His name.
Because they know he's the mayor. They tag him in everything.
Exactly.
And I would just say this: the dumbest thing that I saw recently was asking him about what is he doing to make sure the LGBTQ community is in the room? What room? What are you doing to make sure that you are in the room and representing, if that's, you know, the community that you're a part of? Like, why is he even tagged in this? Why is he tagged in the streets not being clean when you ain't even been outside yet, my guy? And that was the funniest exchange, because he said, hold on there, young man. Nobody's getting their ass whooped today.
I like his
because he
comeback though.
literally said the dude in the post is like somebody need their ass whooped for these streets and this, that, and third or whatever, and he shared it and responded like, "Hey, ain't nobody get their ass whooped today, young man."
That's hilarious.
Because
Exactly.
they out here doing the
I remember that.
due diligence. He was
Exactly.
recently on was it the Breakfast Club? He was just on the Breakfast Club.
Yeah,
He sure was.
He called Joe Biden out because Joe Biden was talking a little greasy.
Joe Budden.
City.
Not
Joe
Biden.
Budden.
Yeah.
Joe Budden. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he called his ass out too because it was necessary. Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And that type of pride from leadership is necessary because it gives other people the pride. And again, this is not an endorsement for anybody.
We just talking.
Capital B is a nonprofit organization. I am not.
Right.
I am acknowledging
the bag.
I am acknowledging the efforts of the current leadership and going back to our reporting. Calvin is reporting all of this. Calvin is his reporting helps people to understand what's happening. And I would actually, with what I've learned in my community engagement, is people don't understand how local government even works, which is why they tag him. They tag the mayor and everything. And so right now, I'm thinking of how can we put this together in an editorial way where people understand the roles of government. And
they're not going to listen because they want to be right.
But no, so our readers actually do listen. We actually have a very unique audience where people want to know because of the way that our reporters are writing these stories. People actually look forward to the information. And so something that what I really want to do in 2026 is really break down the roles of government and in local government and how those roles affect you and who you're able to who you're supposed to communicate with and who you're supposed to connect with for certain things. I think that's really, really important for people to learn so they can stop tagging this man and everything. But before that
be the same thing for like district.
So yes, for council, each council.
That's what I want to know.
Yes, each council district, even the mayor's cabinet, what that looks like. What are those roles, and how important they are. So people know who to go to about certain issues because the mayor does not do everything.
Right, that's why they have districts.
Yeah, the mayor doesn't do everything.
And that's why like the mayor is literally has all of these other people underneath him. Like I have never seen in the history. I have never seen in the history of Gary people tag a mayor on the most menial things. And I'm like, do y'all tag him just because y'all know he's on social media, or are you really? Like, what's the connection to tagging him and everything that has nothing to do with him? You have city council members, you have all of these different things that come even before getting to the mayor, but y'all tag him and everything. Find out who your people are in your local area and start tagging their asses. Find out who the people.
As I said, the district, because I always want to know who the district in Glen Park. So
that's what Capital B is going to be doing. Specifically with me in the community engagement, that's something that I really want to focus on for people to understand and to know what local government, the roles of local government, and who to go to for these specific things that they have, the issues that they have. And again, that is what Capital B is about. We're about informing people. We want to educate the community that we serve. And so that's literally what we're about. And so that's one of those things that I'll be focusing on in 2026. So you can look for that.
Absolutely. That's so good. I'm excited just overall. One, because I didn't know Calvin was part of Capital B, and that makes my heart happy. Because I've known Calvin, we go all the way back to 6th grade. Okay.
Oh, wow.
All the way back to 6th grade. And so to see that it really is less than 6 degrees of separation that happens in Gary. It'd be maybe 2 or 3. You know, I know somebody that knows somebody, and that somebody is somebody that a whole lot of people I know. And so it's absolutely an amazingly beautiful thing to see that this is the realm that he stepped into. And I'm gonna make sure I make the connection to even have him be on the show to talk about all of those kind of things, because that's literally not knowing what a lot of the people that I went to school with do, and then some of the things come full circle. So I'm like, oh, yeah. And then of course, my girl Gretchen, we're gonna get her on the show soon, because Gretchen is also an amazing wealth of knowledge, information, and her heart is just super big for Gary and the community of Gary and what is happening there on the ground and all across Gary, and even some of the other areas outside of Gary. She is always I truly admire the work that she's done, and I admire the work that she's currently doing, because we're currently working on some things together, and so I'm super excited to see all of those things come to fruition and how she is building and growing out even further. So it's super dope just to even acknowledge so many amazing people from Gary, so many amazing people in the city and around the city. And Biggs, you get to learn and know more people from Gary other than me. Look at you. Look at you over here knowing some dope people from Gary.
I know, right?
I mean, because we really do be dope. Gary people really do be dope.
Yes.
I can't say, I mean, for real, we really do be dope. So what I lost my thought, because this has been good conversation. So what do you feel like are some of the gaps and harms caused by mainstream media?
Lack of transparency, a lot of misinformation.
Church.
There is so much, like, and I have to even say, outside of the news, you have the bloggers. And I think the bloggers have made it so bad for real news, because it's like, and I don't know, maybe this is an algorithm thing, but it's so much of the gossip is pushed, and the false narratives and the misinformation, all of that stuff is pushed to the forefront, where you have real news, real information that people need to know. It's almost as if you gotta like dig for it.
Yeah.
Prime example. People are losing funding for housing all across the United States, but the bloggers rather push Blueface, Krishan, and that other old lady. Jesus Christ. Keep us out the group chat, bro. Keep us out the group chat.
Other old lady.
Yeah.
What her name? Heather E. Or whatever her name is. Just take us out the group chat.
Hazel E.
Hazel E.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
right.
I don't even know who that is.
Chat.
Thank you, God. Okay.
Ratchetness.
Love and Hip Hop LA, I think.
Ratchetness.
Oh, the one that looks like Ernest
stuff.
Goes to Jail?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yes. I can't say yes to that, but
he did, so
okay. I'll do it for you. Yes, she looked like Ernest and John Cena.
Okay. Listen, because that's the only way, like, literally that people described her for so long. I did not know that lady's name.
Like if you
And
take her and Tamar Braxton and put them side by side, they are Bert and Ernie.
you know what? We're not finna do that.
I am so serious.
But that's the only way I knew her, because so many people were calling her Ernest Goes to Jail or any of the Ernest.
Wild. That is so
any
wild.
of the Ernest movies. That's how people were describing her, but I never knew her name.
Yeah.
And that was the only way that
back when I used to watch, I cannot watch that stuff anymore. But back
I've
when I
never
used to
watched
watch
it.
Love and Hip Hop, I was watching all of the Love and Hip Hop New York, LA, Atlanta, watching all of them. But
Ratchet TV,
over the
TV.
last maybe 10 years, which the fact that they're still running is crazy.
Really, that's true.
But yeah, that's where she's from. So a lot of like the celebrity gossip, all of that stuff, I feel like it pushes out real news. It pushes out real information that people need to know for real.
Yeah. even when it comes to that was the whole reason for this series of interviews and conversations, was because we had to get back to understanding that media is not just these red pill conversation podcasts, and media is not just conversations talking about relationships and love and all of those kind of things. Although we talk about those things, there are other layers that we need to be peeling back. We need to get back into community. We need to tap into mental health. We need to tap into all of those things, because there are so many layers of the people that we are and the communities that we are currently in, that all of that red pill talk and all of those kind of conversations are not helping anybody in any shape, form, or fashion. And so I always laugh when people talk about podcasting and, oh, well, we need to take away podcast mics. We need to take away mics from people who are creating divisive conversations.
Yes.
We need to take away mics from people who are having conversations that do not add to the growth of the community or the growth of society as a whole. Yes, you are entitled to have your opinion, just like I'm entitled to have mine.
Everybody don't need to know it. Everybody
what you say, JT? Take us out the group chat.
For real.
We do need to defund all Pop the Balloon shows.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that's got to go.
Those shows are terrible. I
mean,
I think
because it adds to the fuel of them having conversations.
People's even like, when you think about the self-esteem and how hard people go on, like I've only seen clips. I've never watched a full episode of anything. So
I didn't even know it was a real thing until
there's 3 versions. There's 3
like,
versions.
They're the man or the woman, you know, they're coming on there, they're looking for somebody, and then the responses that they get from people is so like, did you come on here to humiliate people, or are you actually
so fast?
That's how it comes off. So it's like, I don't understand why people keep participating in it, to be honest. It's such a
everybody looking for that moment.
But those moments are humiliation.
Right, that's what I'm saying. The people that are doing the humiliating are looking for a moment, or looking for the opportunity to become a villain, and it's really disheartening and sad, because is this what you set out your life to do, was to be a villain in somebody else's story? And it goes to play a bigger part in the mental health of a lot of people that participate in these shows.
I mean, you tearing down somebody's self-esteem with the things that I've
for no reason
them people say on them episodes, or just the little clips that I've seen. And I'm like, how do you as a person feel good about yourself talking about somebody like that? It's horrible.
Men and women both sides.
Yes.
How do you expect somebody to actually take you serious and want to date you when you disrespecting somebody that's just trying to get to know you?
Yeah, very mean.
Or trying to get an understanding. Yeah.
But that goes to what I was just saying, how that's the type of stuff that's being pushed in the algorithm. That's the type of stuff that's being pushed, and it's overshadowing like healthy podcast or
most
healthy
of these pages aren't even
conversation.
run by us.
Mm.
That's what's crazy.
That part,
when I
because
found out Hollywood Unlocked was ran by white people, Shade Room,
I think they're Nigerian or something.
World, what is it? World Hip Hop. I think that's not by us either.
None of them.
A lot of the blog pages aren't run by Black people. So they are further pushing the narrative that this is how Black people are. And people are starting to recognize it in the comments. Like when I do come across some of that stuff, people are starting to recognize it. Like, why do y'all keep sharing this kind of BS? Why do y'all keep doing I forgot the other page. And it used to be like a positive page, and then they started posting all of the
spiritual. I know what you're talking
about. They started posting all of the BS, and they like, wait, what happened to this
going to get them followers.
They sold the page. They sold that page.
Why it's so important.
Spiritual world. That's what it is.
Yep.
So here's the thing. That guy used to sell. Him and his wife used to sell their product, like shirts, hats. If you notice now, we never see any of that anymore.
Yeah.
It's nothing but shenanigans.
Yeah.
Nothing but stupidity. They don't run that page anymore. That's why I don't like Elon Musk. I really don't. But the best thing he could have done was expose all these pages that are supposed to be us, but are run by people in other countries.
Yeah.
Of course.
Like you can actually go to the page and click and see who's running this page from. You may be sitting there talking, nigga this, nigga that, blah, 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 blah. Bro, you ain't even one of us. Who are you? Can you type this in your actual native tongue?
Right.
Please.
Right.
Don't talk like you me. You ain't from here.
And that's the biggest part of it is we are starting to come so far from real conversations. Like even the fact that so many people talk about they don't like talking on the phone, they don't like reading books and all of those kind of things. Like, how are you informed then?
Yeah.
You don't read a book, you don't have conversations with people. And anybody that knows me, listen, call me. Let's talk, because I am so far removed from some things a lot of times simply because it's not the chaos and the noise. And so trying to pick out the little things in that chaos and in that noise, it's hard to find sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it's being pushed. All of the other mess is being pushed. And I even did I even did one of those little TikTok trends where it was talking about who said that? And it was because I said people always talk about that they want real podcasts and they want real conversations and they want this, that, and the third. But y'all don't really want that. Y'all want to be entertained in order to make yourself feel good so that you can have a comment or have something to say so that you'll look like you're living a life better than what you actually are, or so that you can feel like you're on a pedestal based off of somebody else's opinion. And let's be real.
I'm going to take the collection plate and pass it around.
Because y'all don't really want those
is
conversations.
Giving a word right now.
Y'all don't really want those conversations.
For her.
People don't want those conversations. They want to have divisive conversations. I had a whole series on here where we talked to married couples. Married couples. People don't want to talk to married folks. Now, I want to talk to married people.
That's who we need to be hearing from. Not all these
help me to understand
relationships.
Everybody they listen to toxic.
Yeah, toxic. And even the conversations in regards to single women or I started unfollowing and blocking so many people on social media right after the election. And it wasn't even because of who they voted for. It was their reasoning. It was their reasoning. Don't nobody want no woman in power when soon as she had cramps. Sir, you are 56 years old. Why is this your narrative or thought process when it comes to and so it really started to, I really started to tiptoe on out the room. I had the Homer Simpson into the bushes on a lot of the things that have been talked about, the narratives of Black women, the narratives of Black men. And it's so funny because I've been called to pick me because I don't stand on that ideology of what Black men do or consist of or who they are, like, because that's not my experience of Black men. Have I dealt with some raggedy Black men? Absolutely. But
but
that is not my experience overall, and that is not my experience that I'm going to push on other people and say all Black men. No. It was the ones I dealt with. It might have been the version of me at that time that dealt with those kind of Black men, but people don't want to accept accountability, and so it has become a blame game across the board. And so this is why places or platforms like Capital B Gary, the Fat Girl Chronicles, and other platforms that have real conversations that talk about things that we need to have real conversations about. People are literally out here losing their minds left and right, but nobody wants to talk about mental health. Women are opening up and having more conversations about perimenopause and menopause. They have studied, I saw a video yesterday, they have studied male pattern baldness more than they have actually studied menopause. And menopause affects half of the population. Okay, but they've studied male pattern baldness more than they have actually studied menopause or perimenopause. And so when women are moving into those spaces, we don't have a whole lot of information.
Affect me.
Listen. Not you gonna fluff out the fro.
We not hatfishing over here. It's all up under there.
Not you fluffing the fro just so they know. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
Ain't got nothing to do with me.
But just having those kind of conversations. Listen, and even the doctors don't know how to tell you what's happening with your body. And that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But the reason for me stating it was about the information and the focus on the information that's being given and being put out here into the world.
So I want to say something. I'm sorry to cut you off.
So no, you're good.
I know you've seen the recent news where the young lady who was turned around and denied service, and she ended up giving birth in her car.
Absolutely.
She's from this area. And, there were some people were like, oh, she's dragging this. And I have to be careful with how I respond to things. But Capital B actually did, so Janae, who is our health and environment reporter, she was in a year-long fellowship with Pulitzer, which is a huge journalism organization. And she chose the topic of Black maternal health. And what she discovered in her year-long research and editorial was basically Black maternal health is not taken seriously. And within Gary alone. So one of the first things that we found out when she started her research, and she pulled me in for the community engagement portion, but she did a lot of the research herself. And what she found out was the mortality rate was so high to where there's not even actual numbers to really quantify the amount of mortality that comes with Black maternal, and so a lot of it is not even reported. So we don't even know what that number truly is. Just like this woman, she was turned away. How many instances has that happened and we did not know?
A lot.
How many times have Black women been not taken seriously when they had issues in their pregnancy. They were experiencing a pain. They were experiencing some sort of discomfort or preterm labor. My daughter, who's 10 now, I had her at 28 weeks. She was born 3 months early. But, and this is something that I have to say, a lot of people talk so bad about Gary Northlake. Their labor and delivery is top tier. I have not one complaint, and I don't know anybody else that has had one complaint about Gary Northlake labor and delivery, because they actually take you seriously. My doctor took me very seriously, and I had went into the hospital. I think I had just found out I was pregnant, so I probably wasn't even 6 weeks. And I was experiencing some pain. Mind you, this is my first pregnancy. I don't know what's going on with my body. So I go into the hospital. They kept me. They didn't send me home. They kept me. They kept me for 2 days. They assigned me to the doctor that I have now to this day. That's my doctor. And African man. Until he no longer practicing, that's who I'm going to. But they assigned me to him, and he took it very seriously. When I went for my 26-week checkup, and I don't want to share too much information, but he sent me to the hospital and put me on mandatory bed rest. He's like, you're not even going home. You're going to the hospital from his doctor's office. He's like, you call somebody else to pack your bag, but you going to the hospital. And that's where you're going to stay until I say you can go home or until you have this baby. But we're going to try to make sure that you don't have this baby early. I still end up having her early. And they took such good care of me. And even their NICU, they took such good care of my daughter. All praises to God. I know that, he is, he is in control of everything, but he anointed every single person that had something to do with my pregnancy, my labor, my delivery, and postpartum. And when I think about even when I was there, I was talking to one of the nurses who was on the night staff, and she was telling me how economically Black women, we have a higher rate of preterm labor due to the economic effects of, many are malnourished because they can't afford the healthy foods that they need. A lot of them are in unhealthy relationships that causes stress. So there's so many things that go wrong. And back to, so Janae, capital B, we covered that. So with this young lady, and people were, oh, she's dragging this out, and she just needs to be thanking God that she had a healthy baby, and that could have not happened.
Right, because she was in active labor when they turned her around.
Right.
That could have gone a totally different way. So no, she's not dragging this out. Every person with a microphone needs to be in her face. She needs to be telling her story. I think I just saw where they just passed the law that
it's called the Wells Law. I think that's what it's called.
Her last name is Wells. So yes, the Wells Law, where you can't turn away someone who's actively in labor. I got to read all of it I can speak correctly about it.
But it's 2025, and that the fact that it has to be a law instated that you cannot turn around someone that is in active labor is absolutely asinine.
Yes.
But not only it was that one that I saw recently, and another young lady, I think she was in Pennsylvania.
Yep.
She was
actively in the triage.
Yes. And the nurse was just so very nonchalant, very, like she didn't care. And the young lady was literally telling her.
She should have went right up.
She should have went straight on through.
Information there while she was already in her labor and delivery room.
Yeah, because she was screaming.
She said that she was in labor and she felt like the baby was coming out of her butt.
Yes.
And that was what she said. And so, so many people in the comments was like, well, they should have took her back soon as she got there. But there were some complications because they took so long to actively, like to actively deliver the baby.
It's like you're literally, as a woman, you are literally the vessel between life and the other realm. You're literally bringing life into the world, and you're not taken seriously because of your skin color. That is serious.
Birth is the closest thing to death.
Yes.
Giving birth is the closest thing to death.
Death.
You know, and we can understand that because of the fact that so many Black and brown women die in labor.
Yes. I'm telling you,
shortly thereafter,
they don't have an accurate number. They don't have an accurate number for the mortality rate when it comes to Black pregnancies in the state of Indiana.
It's crazy.
That is the information.
And then just to think that's only in the state of Indiana.
Only in the state.
Right.
I mean, it's all across the country, but of course we were doing our study for the sake of it was mind blowing to me that, you know, and so again, journalism and how important it is, local journalism, which is, you know, the topic of what we're, you know, what we're talking about now, but that is why what we do is so important, because now we have this information. And instead of me arguing, I just pull up news articles that our reporters have done. And I just read this.
You know, people don't like getting hit with facts.
I don't got to argue with you. I'm going to just bring you the information because our journalists have done the research. They have the answers and the accurate information for you. So ain't no reason for me to argue. I'm going to just go ahead and send it to you.
Yep.
And I know the person who wrote it, so I know it's accurate.
Talk about it. I know who wrote it.
I was a part of the research. Here you go.
Yeah.
Where you get your research from? I did it with the help of this team.
Listen. I did the research.
Yes.
And I did the deep dive. Okay.
And that's what real journalism is. Real journalism is doing real research and providing real accurate information. And anything where you just wrote down an opinion, I don't care about your opinion. Give me some facts.
Listen, give me some facts.
Capital B provides factual information. There is nothing that we publish that we have not gotten facts from. If it cannot be fact checked, you will not see us publishing it.
Listen. Don't nobody want that kind of drama, you know, behind it. Especially if you are here posting and publishing stuff that's not factual, and it has a bigger effect on the community around us. That's why we very careful about what we put up and what we say over here too. We might engage in a little, you know, foolishness from time to time because you know that's what we do. But also when we talk about real topics and have real conversations, we're not sharing anything other than some real deal factual information simply because I myself, I'm not going to allow the people on this platform to taint nothing that we've done. We've been doing this for too long for it to be tainted. But then also the impact. One false bit of information can then be a trickle down effect across the board based on the audience that we have. And like we've stated, a lot of people don't like to do the deep dive themselves. So we have to be mindful of the information that goes out and the information that's being given to the masses. So even when we talk about things on PGC After Dark, that's where I geek out, because now I got to really give y'all some real information, because y'all on here talking about BS all the time in regards to this topic. So let me give you some real deal information and help you to understand yourself better than you did when you watched this show.
Yes.
Because we could absolutely be vulgar and talk about all the things, but also you're going to be educated because I'm a teacher at heart. Strong in the game of teaching. So I'm going to teach you some things. We going to laugh, we going to joke, and all of those kind of things. But at the end of the day, when you come to PGC, the goal is to make sure that you learned something, that you walked away with something, and that you felt like you were able to connect to people that look like you. That are from places where you're from, who deal with things that you deal with on a regular basis. And so I honestly can say I am a big fan of platforms that take that chance, because we are not always seen, we're not always given praise, we're not always recognized for the conversations and the work that we do. But the people that it affects, the people that connect with us, absolutely make it worthwhile each and every time. 5 years strong. I would definitely say the people that have been a part of PGC, been on PGC, or are our biggest fans, really make it do what it do. So outside of all of those things, I just want to make sure that we connect you with our audience, so you can tell the people where they can find you, how they can connect with you, and all of that good stuff.
Okay. So if you are not a follower of Capital B Gary, you can find us at Capital B Gary on Facebook and Instagram. You can find me, Derreka Rollins, on Facebook, and you can find me at _Derreka on Instagram. And our national, which is Capital B News, you can find us on all platforms as well.
All right. I want to thank you, the drunk uncle, for tapping in with us tonight. D girl and Bestie Boo Marcy. Thank y'all for tapping in. Thank you to our audience for tapping in with us tonight. Make sure you check out Capital B, check out Derreka. The drunk uncle might have some dope things coming over this way sooner than later. I'm trying to push him over the edge so he can go on and take that leap.
I gotta finish this rebranding.
You talking to a brand strategist, sir. So
I know.
All excuses to the side.
That's why I text you.
Listen, okay. We want to thank y'all for tuning in tonight. Make sure you catch us next Tuesday, because we got an amazing guest that's going to talk to us about storytelling and our roots. The founder and creator of Black in the Garden will be with us next week. And what I want y'all to remember, the Fat Girl Chronicles, it is not just a podcast, it is a movement. So whatever you do for the rest of the evening and the rest of the week, y'all, don't do it with your half-ass, do it with your whole ass, y'all. We up out this thing. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all for being here tonight. And yes, we leaving a little bit early, but the conversation was good. We tapped in what we needed to tap in on. So we up out of here. I'm hungry, okay?
Thank y'all for having me.
We love y'all. We will see y'all next week. Make sure y'all check out Thursday Night Live on Thursday. Check us out tomorrow on Instagram for the Queen's Tea. And we will be back with PGC After Dark with the Crazy Rich Aunties. We up out this thing, y'all. Love y'all and good night.
You gotta do it with your whole ass.